In the following two videos, we shall talk about good test case properties. Before we begin speaking about test cases and their properties, let's take a little step aside or back. Maybe you remember good requirements properties. Here they are. And if we compare those properties to test case ones, we shall see the following picture. We may see that the central idea is about the correctness. The verifiability is not really applicable to test cases, it goes to requirements. But all those ideas like obligation, being up to date, being modifiable and traceable, being unambiguous and consistent, and ranked for importance but usually not for stability or priority, being feasible and complete, being atomic, all that is applicable to test cases. And of course, test cases have some specific properties. We shall talk about these properties in our first video and about these and some more in the second one. So let's begin. The first idea is that a test case should be somewhere between being too specific or too general. If we are looking at the following test cases and asking which is bad or which is good, we may see that both of those test cases are bad, because this one is too specific and this one is too general. Why is it bad? Here we have too specific and here we have too general test case. With too specific test case, the probability of detecting of an error is reduced because we are executing exactly the same actions. See here, we have exact the same numbers and we are using them again and again. And if we have huge specific test case, the time of creation and support of such test case extremely increases. But if we are speaking about two general test cases, it's usually too difficult for beginners or new people on the project to understand such test cases, because here we lack a lot of data, and even with huge effort to understand the initial idea, we still may somehow misunderstand what the author meant. So in order to create a good test case, we shall maintain the balance here. And this test case is balanced. Here we are not tied to specific values. You see only valid integer. And the testing specialist may choose a valid integer, any valid integer he likes. We still know exactly how to check the result. Here it is. We reduce the time of writing and support by referencing our own steps. Here it comes. And we have a list of specific values we are interested in, like maximum valid values, minimum valid values, and zero. Here it is. The next properties are either simplicity or complexity. And a good test case should be somewhere between. Here are the definitions. What is a simple test case? It operates a single object, usually, or the main object is obvious here. And such test case uses small number of trivial actions. While speaking about complex test case, we see that it operates several equal objects and may contain many non-trivial actions. The idea here is similar to the previous one. A good test case should be somewhere between being too complex or too simple. Because if it is too simple, this test case here, there are some disadvantages. And if it is too complex, also have some disadvantages. So a test case should not be either extremely simple or extremely complex. But usually to be just simple, not extremely, is good, because simple test cases are easy to understand for everybody, easy to execute, easily show the defects, and the defects are really obvious. Imagine you are performing such test when you are multiplying 2 by 2 and you see that the result is 17. Of course, it's easy to see and the defect is obvious. And now imagine that you are somehow multiplying, let's imagine, some numbers, and you see some results here. How easy is it to see the defect? It's not easy. And even if you see it, how easy it will be to prove that there is a defect. So, once again, simplicity has advantages. But if this test case is extremely simple, it usually just no more than a step or several steps of more complex test cases. So this simple test case is absorbed by some more complex test case. And speaking about complexity, complexity is good, but if it's not extremely complex. Why is it good? Because we have more chances to break something, because it's more similar to real user actions or scenarios, and developers rarely test such complex things themselves. It's okay, it's the task for testers, not developers. But if we have too complex test case, it takes a lot of time to write and maintain such test cases. And such test cases often need huge maintenance with each application change. So being extremely complex is not good. But as you can see, it's recommended to move from simple tests to more complex tests during the testing process. But once again, remember that while simplicity is good and complexity is good, too simple tests are bad and too complex tests are bad. The goal here is to maintain the balance.